Every day, tens of thousands of motorists on the Queen Elizabeth Way drive effortlessly across the Welland Canal on the Garden City Skyway in St. Catharines. Few probably think about what it was like crossing the Welland Canal before the Skyway was built. But did you know that when the Skyway was constructed in the 1960s, there was an entire interchange on the original route of the QEW, which was abandoned in the process? This is the story of the Homer Cloverleaf, its unusual past, and its rather ghostly appearance today. Hello, and welcome Ontario Highway Travelers. I'm your host, Cameron Beavers, with another installment of my YouTube channel's Did You Know Ontario Highways Trivia Series. If you like traveling the King's Highways of Ontario and you find them interesting, and you'd like to learn a bit more about how they came to be, then this is the place for you. So stick around. Let's go out and hit the highways together. A new lift bridge was built across the Welland Canal in 1937 to allow traffic on Highway 8 to pass over the waterway. Once the QEW arrived in St. Catharines by the end of the decade, the dual highway was designed in such a way that it intersected with Highway 8 just west of the Homer Lift Bridge. A new partial Cloverleaf interchange was built at the junction of Highway 8 and the QEW in the late 1930s. The Homer Cloverleaf, as the interchange came to be known, would allow traffic coming from downtown St. Catharines on Highway 8 to join the QEW in either direction. Likewise, the proposed Cloverleaf would allow traffic heading westbound on the QEW towards Hamilton, or eastbound on the QEW towards Niagara Falls, to exit at Highway 8 and travel into St. Catharines. A grade separation structure was built to carry the new dual four-lane highway across Highway 8 at Cushman Road. The concrete rigid frame underpass structure was built in 1939. It remains one of the only original structures from the early days of the QEW which is still standing today. The interchange ramps were graded in 1939, with final concrete paving taking place during the summer of 1940. For nearly 25 years, the Homer Cloverleaf formed the main northeastern entrance to St. Catharines from the QEW. Eventually, a new high-level bridge was constructed for the QEW across the Welland Canal so that highway traffic no longer had to stop and wait for ships to pass on the canal at the lift bridge. Following the completion of the Garden City Skyway in October 1963, the Homer Cloverleaf became redundant. Traffic through the interchange fell precipitously, and it was no longer necessary to have Cloverleaf ramps to accommodate the area's traffic volumes. A reconstruction contract began in 1964 to remove the old Cloverleaf ramps and also the Niagara-bound lanes of the former route of the QEW from the approaches to the Homer Cloverleaf's grade separation. The Toronto-bound lanes of the former highway were left in place and retained as a service road connection, known today as Dunkirk Road. Although it initially carried two-way traffic on the Toronto-bound side of the old highway, Dunkirk Road was later converted to carry one-way traffic in the westbound direction only, meaning that very little traffic now uses the old QEW route. The old underpass from 1939 was left in place at Cushman Road during the reconstruction in the 1960s, and still stands as of 2026. It is a ghostly reminder of a pre-World War II superhighway interchange whose route was left behind in the march of progress and ongoing highway improvements. The Cushman Road underpass also marks the site of one of the earliest grade-separated highway interchanges ever built in Canada. The Homer Cloverleaf was also the site of the first electronic changeable message signs along Ontario's highways. Developed and installed by the Department of Highways of Ontario in 1957, these signs provided overhead lane designation controls which could be adjusted in real time based on traffic demand. The overhead sign messaging was controlled locally by an OPP officer from a nearby watchtower, who could temporarily alternate traffic flow on a third center lane across the Homer Lift Bridge whenever traffic volumes in one direction were substantially heavier than the other. Lane use messaging was conveyed to motorists on the highway below using electronic neon tube signs. These overhead signs had two downward-pointing lane arrows and two lines of text, which could be illuminated to read either "Use two lanes" or "Right lane only." Only one of the two messages would be illuminated at any one time. The new lane control system greatly reduced traffic congestion at the bridge. Following the completion of the Garden City Skyway in 1963, the neon tube changeable message signs were turned off permanently and were dismantled. Only the concrete foundations of the sign structures were left behind. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. You can learn more about the fascinating stories behind Ontario's King's Highways by either subscribing to this YouTube channel so that you can be informed as new video content is loaded, or by visiting my Ontario Highways website at www.thekingshighway.ca. And until next time, happy motoring. We'll see you out on the King's Highways.